What is Duel Masters? Duel Masters is more than an exciting new trading card game. It's your chance to become a Kaijudo master, an expert in the ancient art of fighting with giant monsters. To play a Duel Masters game, you need a deck with at least 40 Duel Masters cards in it. You also need a friend with his own deck. Your personal deck can have whatever cards you want in them. It's completely up to you. You choose which fierce monsters you want to fight for you. You choose which tricky spells you want to surprise your opponent with. The object of the game is to break all your opponent's shields and then attack him one more time to win the game. To do that, you'll need creatures and spells. Let's get familiar with the cards and how they work in the game. This is a creature. You can tell because it says creature here. And it has a power number here. A creature's power shows how strong it is in battle. This creature's name is Deadly Fighter Braidclaw, and its creature type is Dragonoid. You can have all different types of creatures in your deck. It costs 1 mana to summon it to the battle zone. This is the text box. Lots of creatures have special rules and abilities. This one must attack each turn if it can. When a creature is in the battle zone, you have to do what it says. When it's anywhere else, like in your graveyard or mana zone, just ignore the text unless it says otherwise. Lots of creatures have flavored text as well. This isn't important to the game, it's just for fun. Creatures are very important to the game because after you summon them, they stay in the battle zone and fight for you. You need creatures to break your opponent's shields and win the game. This is a spell card. They don't have a power number in the corner, and they say spell on them here. This spell is called Death Smoke. It costs 4 mana to cast. When you cast a spell, you do what it says to do in the text box. If you can't do everything it says, just do as much as you can. Then you put the spell card into your graveyard. Spells only have a one-time effect, but they can be very powerful. Before we get started, let's see what a full game looks like. This is the shield zone. Each player starts the game with 5 shields. When you break all of your opponent's shields, you attack him one more time to win the game. This is the battle zone. The creatures that you summon go into the battle zone, and that's where they fight for you. This is your mana zone. Each player has one. Mana is magical energy that you use to pay for creatures and spells. The more mana you have, the bigger your creatures and spells can be. This is your deck. At the start of each turn, you draw a card from your deck, so you always have new creatures to summon and new spells to cast. This is your graveyard. When a creature is destroyed, or when a spell is finished, you put it in your graveyard. Hey, you know enough. Now let's duel! To start a Duel Masters game, each player shuffles his deck. Decide randomly who will start the game. You might want to flip a coin or play rock, paper, scissors to decide. Before you start playing, take the top 5 cards from your deck and put them face down in a row in front of you. Don't look at them. These are your shields. Your opponent does the same thing. During the game, you'll try to break your opponent's shields, and he'll try to break yours. Next, draw the top 5 cards of your deck. You can look at these cards. This is your playing hand. Your opponent does the same. The cards in your hand are what you can play. Now that you're set up, it's time to start playing. Your turn has 6 steps. The first step is to start your turn. This is when you reset all of your cards on the table. Since you don't have any yet, we'll skip this part. We'll talk about this again on turn 2. The second step is to draw a card. But wait, the player who goes first doesn't draw a card on his first turn. We'll skip this part too. Don't worry, we'll get to it on turn 2. The third step is to put a card into your mana zone. You don't have to do this every turn, but you really want to at the beginning of the game. Mana is what you use to pay for creatures and spells, and without mana, you can't do anything at all. Choose a card in your hand that you don't think you'll use right away. Put it into your mana zone upside down so you can read the number in the circle. That card will stay in your mana zone for the rest of the game. You can get mana out of it every turn. You can only put 1 card into your mana zone each turn, so after you do that, this step is over. Step 4 is to summon creatures and cast spells. You can summon as many creatures as you want, and you can cast as many spells as you want, as long as you have enough mana to pay for them. Let's summon Deadly Fighter Braidclaw. It costs 1 mana. Braidclaw is from the Fire Civilization. You can tell because it's red. There are 5 different Duel Master civilizations: Fire, Darkness, Light, Nature, and